to speak today. We're neighbors. In fact, we have beehives just 2 blocks from here, directly that way. We're behind Testa Produce. It's one of our 3 sites. Chicago Honey Co-op is what we call ourselves. We take care of about 60 hives in Chicago. Some are for institutions and some are ours. We go to market and have gone to farmers markets now for 11 years. Quite an experience. I met Ed Hubbard, I guess 2 years ago at the plant. Mm-hmm. And there was this amazing thing going on there. They had asked people to come and speak about urban farming and how to make a business out of it. How you keep a business, and it was really, again, really it was an honor to be asked, and it was also a challenge to talk about how to make a business out of it and make a business that works. But we've been in business for 10 years. Miraculously, we do education, we do production of honey and other products in the hives. We have an online store, which kind of keeps us limping through the winter. So one of the great things about Chicago is that beekeeping is perfect here. It's one of there's a smorgasbord of food for insects. Mostly because of what humans do. Humans plant everything they can get their hands on, and then it spreads, sometimes invasively. But an obvious thing would be the shade trees in Chicago. Linden trees, for example, produce some of the best honey in the world. All beekeepers know this. And in Chicago, there are literally millions planted as shade trees, almost on every block. So that's just one small example of how we can do this. I met Jana Kinsman about, 5 years ago maybe?
Yeah, that's
and you took our class, one of our beekeeping classes, and also called me up about what we do, and we're really curious about our work. And now Jana is also a beekeeper citywide and does it by bicycle. So today we have honey from 7 different sites. I'm going to name the sites that honey we brought. This is from the hives we took care of, we still take care of at the Museum of Science and Industry. We've been keeping bees there for 4 years. And those hives are incredibly productive. They have 4 hives. They own those hives. We just maintain them. That's completely different than any of these honeys. I will add, I don't know why.
It's so light.
It's really different.
It's unbelievably light.
This larger jar is from us, and that's from the Austin neighborhood, which is really far west by Columbus Park, 290 and on the edge of the city. If you've never been to Columbus Park, please visit it someday. It's one of the most beautiful parks in the city, and designed by a great architect, Jens Jensen. And this is also from our bees, and it's this is from Testa, just 2 blocks away. And then why don't you tell us where those are from?
Yeah. I'm going to remember. So the first 2 are from there's this overgrown, it was once a community garden on the west side, the Al Raby Garden. And before it was a garden, it was like a double lot where kids rode like dirt bikes, and it was like had all these berms built up for like dirt bike racing. And then it got turned into a community garden, and then the community garden kind of got abandoned. but it's right by the Al Raby School, so that's why we call it Al Raby. So there is a north hive and a south hive there, and so we harvested those two hives separately just to see if they would taste different, and they totally do. And then we have Queen Michael, which is not named after this Michael, but another Michael, who alerted me of a swarm of bees. And so I captured that swarm and I put it inside of a hive, and I put it at Madison and Sacramento in Garfield Park, and they made it through the winter, which is really rare for a swarm. So we just named the Queen Michael after Michael, who alerted us to the swarm. And then we just really loved her forever because she was this like black queen, and she was really cool, and she made it through the winter. So then the last one we have is from the Fulton Community Garden, which is also at Sacramento, but it's at Sacramento and Fulton. So all of these 4 honeys right here are all from like within a half-mile radius of each other, and they all taste completely different. So you can try all of them and come up with your own flavor notes, but it's just amazing what, I don't know how each hive can have its own separate flavor.
Do you have a theory?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's weather, it's plants, it's size of the hive probably.
Where the first foragers end up going.
Yeah, where the first foragers end up going, and yeah, I think about that all the time probably, why things taste the way they do, but the more I taste honey, the more I'm able to like understand kind of Chicago's flavor. I feel like you can see the flavor of Chicago, you see it through honey.
Many people suggest that honey, like cheese or wine, it has its own place in the world, and it actually describes that place.
Yeah, terroir.
Yeah, and it's I've learned to believe that completely in Chicago. First of all, the honeys are really delicate, really fine honeys. I mean, when I first started beekeeping in Chicago, I've been beekeeping since I was 12 in Kansas and Missouri, but when I moved to Chicago at 19, I really missed it, and so I started again in my early 20s on rooftops, and I didn't even know if it would work. I stupidly didn't understand the horticultural aspect of the city, but the first year from 2 packages, I got 400 pounds of honey or something. It was just amazing, and it was really delicious. So I decided to enter it to the Illinois State Fair. I'd never done that, but somebody suggested it. I thought, well, why not? I know it'll win a prize, and it won a blue ribbon for category of light honey, 20 pounds of light honey.
I tell everybody that story, by the way.
And I thought, well, I'll, first time and the only time I'll probably ever do that. But it was really, it proved something to me that this is very high quality honey. And if you're a beekeeper and read about beekeeping, you know why. There's also something else that is you should know about Chicago, and that because of the farms that were here, and especially because of the stockyards, so many things got moved around by horse, buggy, train, trucks, hay, straw, food for all the livestock, and it got scattered, and it's still with us. And if you go to an empty lot in Chicago, you'll find every clover that can be grown in the upper Midwest, the greatest grown in the world. They're all still there. All those clovers are still there. And those with the hay, still is food for many animals. So I consider farm remnants really important to what we're doing. I mean, yes, there's the horticultural aspect of trees and gardens, and the fact that people plant things. But then there's that all these animals that moved through here, including us, and all those signs are still here. And this describes it right here.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I always, when people ask me about honey, it's like, I always just tell them that like vacant lots are the greatest asset that we have. And they're like an eyesore and it's a problem for a lot of people, but it really sustains the bees, I would say, in like midsummer. Because in spring, that's when like all the trees flower, but you don't get many trees blooming after like late June. And so then the bees are going towards all the clover and thistle and everything that's like summer blooming.
Yeah, and if you don't know what sweet clover is, our honey is often partly white sweet clover.
This year especially, I think,
Yeah.
has a really strong base flavor is the white sweet clover.
And sweet clover isn't short, it's tall. It gets to be 6 feet tall. So you may have seen it along railroad tracks or something. I mean, there's a big field of it where our bees are right over there, but that's a very important aspect to this honey here. And it's also considered the best honey plant in the world, I mean, in all the books.
It's prolific.
It is.
Especially when you get like a whole field of it.
Yeah,
then
and it's
it
also
sustains so many.
Yeah, it's also worldwide. It exists worldwide. Nobody knows its origin. White sweet clover. It might be Asian. Nobody's sure. So, should we taste
Yeah,
some honey?
everybody
Yeah,
please
yeah.
come try
Yeah.
some.
So, a lot of people buy. Please. So a lot of people buy honey in the store. What is the advantage of buying it like this versus buying it, say, in the store?
Well, the
Please
best
only
thing is
use
that you're
toothpicks with the honey also, by the way. This is from the Al-Rabi hives.
you're supporting the local producer.
These are the two
I like to
different
say.
Right.
That's important. The store-bought honey is often a mixture from honeys all over the world, and you don't know what's in it.